So I'll just get started too. See, someone else is joining us. Um, so today Ursula has a meeting, so she won't be able to make it. But her and I are going to produce a COVID race and democracy show for the election. And we're going to have the affiliates be the producers with us and make the segments for it. It was going to be originally for election night, but something happened, and I guess the upper ups decided that they wanted to go with Democracy Now for coverage on that, the actual day, election day night. So what we're gonna do is, work with the COVID Race and Democracy show for November 9th. So it'll be a post-election show. And as I was saying before, we did have people sign up to be a part of that. And I know Cynthia's here, and John is here from WMR, and those are two people that offered. We also had Davine, Eric Coppolino from Planet Waves, Todd Tyson from WFVR, and
Hey, Stephanie?
what's that? Yeah?
Excuse me. It might be a post-election show. Who knows what's going to happen with all the ballots?
Exactly. Yes, it will be a post-election show. Though Ursula and I, when we were talking, we were like, we don't really know. No one knows what's going to happen, right? So we're going to talk ideas of what we could possibly do the show on, but we say that knowing that it's just a mystery. So, and I see Davine is with us too now, so good. And who else do we have? We have Sharon, and Vertical is here, and Isabel is here. Hi, Isabel. So that's where we are. And I was hoping we would have a couple more people who had offered earlier to be a part of the COVID Race and Democracy show come today, but I don't see them yet. Well, so I don't know if anyone else is interested to be a part of that. Let me know. We'll see what we can do, right? So does anyone thought about doing introductions, but I don't know how much time we have. Do you guys want to just do like a 1 minute thing and just say hi and see how everyone's doing? Yeah, okay, let's do that. David, why don't you start since you moved to Minneapolis? Just give us a little brief.
Sure. I'm David Klon, and I just moved to Minneapolis last night.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's only partly true. We've had an apartment here for a few years, so we're sort of settled, but we vacated our house of almost pushing 20 years in Wisconsin last night. So it was sad to leave, but we're happy to be here. And I'm sort of in between stations at the moment. I have an independent consulting gig that I do, helping stations with audio and IT and all kinds of things like that. But I also, I built a station in Viroqua, Wisconsin, and was associated with that for a long time. And now I'm getting associated with KFAI here in Minneapolis, sort of a home station.
Okay, fantastic.
Joseph, you want to go next?
Okay, am I on? Yes, I'm on. I'm Joseph Orozco. I'm with KIDE, right up there. Cuba, California. We've been on the air for a long time. I moved from my station manager position to be the lead producer / mentor, and we got 2 applicants so far to take the manager's position. And I think
nice.
I think one of them may not need a mentor as far as networking. I don't know. We'll find that out. What I found out today that there is an app called Radio Garden. It's an app, and you can just turn the globe, and they'll let you click on to whatever station that might be associated with that app. We're not on it. I don't know how you get on it. I have to do some more research, but.
It's really simple,
Click on
Joseph.
that.
It's really
Oh,
simple.
it is? Okay.
Yeah, if you go to the radio.garden website, there's a place for stations and you could submit your details.
Well, that solves that. See, that's what I said. I'm gonna have to research this and figure out how we can get on there. So
Yeah, it's
check
awesome.
that. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thanks,
Alicia.
Joseph.
Yeah,
We're keeping it
Alicia,
short too, so-
she's running for president.
Yes.
I'll let everybody know that I'm doing her campaign for her. So you're up, Alicia.
We were teasing Alicia earlier because we loved her her presentation so much at the GRC that we should say she should be president. So
Yeah,
we'll
now
take
I'm
it away
getting
from
now
there.
3 more votes there. But anyway, yes, I'm Alicia Sanchez and I'm with KBBF, 89.1 FM, and we're in Santa Rosa, California, and we do predominantly broadcasting in Spanish and indigenous languages, but of course English too. So those are actually, about 5 languages we do a programming, different kind of programming, and in our audience, and we have about a range of maybe more than 10 counties. So we used to have 18 counties, but now it's more than, around maybe 13 counties that we cover. So and our antenna is up on Mount St. Helena's in Calistoga, California. And so it's a powerful signal. We view ourselves as the first bilingual public radio station in the United States. So we are 47 years old. And so anyway, that's it. We're doing good.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass it on.
Hi. I forgot. Oh, you pass it on to whoever just spoke?
Should I go?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel, WSB Stony Brook University College radio station here on Long Island in New York. We've been around for almost going to be 45 years, I think, next year. I don't know, I've got to double check. And I've been here for 20 of those years, with 16 as the general manager. And I just spent like 4 hours trying to get a phone bill paid. So I'm doing budget stuff right now. And other than that, I don't know what the heck I'm doing anymore. I'm so confused right now. I've got remote students. I've got live students. I've got live radio shows, remote radio shows, recorded radio shows. I don't know where anybody is, but we're hanging in there. I think we're doing some election day coverage. I'm still waiting for people to confirm things. The plan was to have our student newspaper, our student television station are doing some live stuff from campus. So we're going to try and broadcast that, and also the Democracy Now! At 9:00.
Oh, glad you're hanging in there, Isabel. Want to pass it on?
Sure. John, you want to go?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, John Braden from WOMR in Provincetown, Massachusetts. We have a second signal in Orleans, Massachusetts, which is about 30 miles away. We've been on the air for almost 40 years now. We're about to embark in our fall pledge drive. I don't believe we'll be having any coverage for the election. We don't have anything planned, but I'm interested in hearing what you guys have planned.
Okay, thanks, John. Pass it on.
I can't see everybody.
Oh, okay. Let's go with Davine. How are you doing in Asheville?
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
So we had our first federal election candidate forum last week, and we live streamed it and simultaneously broadcast it on the radio. So that was a big a big deal, and it went pretty good. The candidate could have had better audio, but our audio was great. And it's an important election because it's the seat that Mark Meadows had. Mark Meadows is now Trump's chief of staff, and a huge amount of PAC money is coming in to fund Meadows' replacement guy if he gets elected. So that was one thing. I did find out something interesting, really. I put a question up on the support groups on Facebook because I was wondering what the breakdown was of community stations that were independent versus ones that were associated with churches or colleges. And it turns out that low power stations that are not connected to an umbrella there are only 60 of us in the country. So that's just a little bit of trivia tidbit information for what I found out last week about low power radio stations. And so I'll pass it on to John Braden.
He just went. Let's see, we have, how about Heather? Are you there, Heather?
Yes, I just need to unmute. Yes, thank you. I'm with WRFG Radio in Atlanta, Georgia. And and I'm also actually an affiliate representative on the Pacifica board. Ultimately, if I get a chance, I'd like to ask some of the affiliates a question about some stuff. I don't know if we'll have a chance to do that, Stephanie, and I've been in community radio since the early 1990s. I have a program on WRFG, which is Just Peace. Basically, there can't be peace in the world without justice. And I used to be the chair of the board actually at WRFG, and that was largely because we needed to, well, for any number of reasons, I suppose, but we needed to raise a lot of money for us to make our tower move actually to the location that it is right now, which is a lot powerful than what we used to have. And I need to say, before we go any further though, that I am always so impressed with the community radio stations, well, on these calls, but around the country. It's just so wonderful. I do also want to mention that talking with Ursula, and this is something I'd love to have a discussion about with more of you all, which is she was talking about the need for us to do a history of the affiliate stations altogether. So I think that's something, I hope we can have a discussion about that, because I think it's so incredibly important that we do the history and we do more programs about the history of community radio, because the public needs to understand that we in community radio are representing the masses of the people, unlike the corporate owned entities, right? And people need to know that. And I don't think we've done enough education about that actually. So anyway, maybe we can get more of a discussion about that at some point. So thanks everyone. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a good reminder that that's another topic that we want to cover.
Great.
How are you doing, Sharon?
Hey, doing well. I think I'm recovered somewhat now. I'm Sharon Scott with WXOX. We are in Louisville, Kentucky, and we were the hosts of this year's virtual GRC, which was very exciting. And Alicia and Joseph, I don't think I've seen either of you since, so I want to thank you so much. Your panel was mind-blowing, amazing, awakening to many people. It really had me in tears in a couple of moments and had me really feeling passionate and strong about how powerful we can be as community radio. So thank you both.
Thank you for putting it. It was incredible, just incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for putting it on.
Well, it had to do with all the great people that were there, you know. We just had such a great group. Ursula and Stephanie and David and Davine and Cynthia is on the line. So everybody who participated, you guys, just thank you so much. You're what's made it amazing. We just kind of created this space and everybody came and inhabited it with such wonderful information and knowledge. So thank you all. David, thank you for supporting us. Pacifica supported us. It was wonderful. So we really felt the love of community radio and the power of community radio at that time. And that's really been carrying me ever since. It was a lot of work, but it was so worth it to see what we can do together, even virtually. So we're doing well here in Louisville. It's kind of rainy and that, and I was a little bit late. My DJs were summoning spirits with the voice of Buddy Holly, and and apparently I had to listen because apparently the devil has Betsy Ross sewing him a new mask that will go around his beard and that sort of thing. So I was trying to get the latest information on what's going on with that. It was kind of crazy. They were having a lot of doing a Halloween episode and had a lot of different characters coming on. So they're just embracing the holiday right now. We've been trying to get the word out to get people to the polls because we have early voting going on, obviously. So that's been our big push right now, but we're not really planning on any major election night coverage, but would be interested to hear what you all are doing and see how we could weave it into what's going on here. So great to see you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. And Vertical usually likes to listen, so we'll just say hi to him virtually. Hi, Vertical. And if you ever want to talk, let us know. Cynthia, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. And Lewis is going to come in. Cool. How are you doing in New York?
We're doing great. I'm sorry. We're doing okay. It's a cold, rainy day today, but cold, rainy days bring flowers, right?
Yes. Okay. Anything else you want to say before we move on? I guess we'll ask Lewis how he's doing too.
That's all right now. It's the end of the day for me. I'm kind of winding down.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And Lewis, how are you doing today?
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I guess I'm
Yes.
okay. Yeah. I
Yep.
just got back from UCLA and I'm looking forward to the conversation. I'm sorry I missed last week entirely, but
Oh, that's okay. That's kind of how it works. You know, people make it to the ones they can, and that works for us. So
right.
have you. Well, let's get started then. I think what I want to do is I want to get to, since we do have a few people that have offered to contribute to the COVID Race and Democracy show for November 9th, if I could get a couple ideas going, just so we have an idea of what to prepare for, and then we can open up to broader topics and what everyone's doing. And I said this already, but I was hoping that a couple other people would show up that were going to contribute. And I kind of wonder if I should invite others to contribute in case the other ones fall back, but I don't really know at this point. So maybe keep it in mind as a possibility if you are interested in contributing. And then we can see, I'll call everyone individually and see who's able to do it for the 9th. So when I talked with, Ursula wanted me just to mention, what a nice opportunity this is too, because news is a tough topic, or not a tough topic, but it's just a tough endeavor to do every day. And the fact that we have a platform through COVID Race and Democracy is a really nice opportunity for us that we can contribute to, and we don't have to do it every day. We can just do it, when it works for us, or if someone individually at a station has something they want to contribute to the show and get in touch with them. It's a nice way to have it ongoing and something that we can take part in. So we're really glad to have this opportunity for the 9th. And when I talked with Paulina and oh man, I forget the other guys' names. I just met them, but they talked a lot about voter suppression, obviously, is a big topic. So if anyone has stories that come out, we would be interested to hear about that. And of course, there's lots of different ways that that can come about, right? Like through meddling of politicians, or through voter intimidation, or through courts, or, you know, however it happens. And, you know, tampering with voting locations, obviously, too, like shutting down voting locations and having lines that people stand in 12 hours that I know some of you are are familiar with in your towns. I'm trying to think what the best, do any of you have a sense of that going on in your communities, that you think that might be a story in your town?
I've got something to contribute.
On that issue?
Yep.
Yeah.
In New York State, all third parties, their threshold to get on the ballot has been increased substantially. For example, like the Green Party, it was, or all parties, it was 50,000 to maintain a ballot line. But now the government in New York State has raised it up to close to 200,000, and to get 200,000 to vote on election day for a third party is almost impossible. So what the politicians in Albany are doing, they're trying to stifle all other voices, just to have Democrats and Republicans viable.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
And hearing you talk reminds me that Ursula said that WPFW would be interested to have you on election night, Cynthia, if you still,
Okay.
if you were still had access to the Green Party candidate.
Oh, I certainly do.
Okay, so.
But I'll have to find out what he's doing. So I will have to let you know exactly when he would be available.
Okay.
I'll give him a call tomorrow, and then I'll give you a call.
Okay. We'll get in touch with you on that. Okay, good deal. Well, they'll be happy about that. Anyone else notice any voter suppression type issues going on? I mean, maybe you won't know till the actual day.
Yeah, I was going to say we had some stuff in the primaries here in Louisville. We had a really tight race with an amazing candidate that people really got energized about towards the end. Once the Black Lives Matter subject became very, powerful here in Louisville. And people really got motivated to vote for him. And at that time, there was only one polling location in our entire county. And that was
wow.
Yeah, and that was at the fairgrounds here in Louisville. And there's kind of one road in and one road out of the fairgrounds. And on that day, they just so happened to be doing a lot of construction. They were moving piles of dirt from one side of the road to the other. And it caused major traffic delays, and it prevented people from getting to the polls on time. On top of that, people who were there said they closed the doors to the polling station 5 minutes before, the final moment, which I think was 6 p.m. And the people, and also to mention that the fairgrounds it's a huge parking lot. So you think you're there, but then where you have to park is just so far away from the entrance to the doors. So people were literally in the parking lot running from their cars trying to get to the doors before they locked them. Nevertheless, the doors were locked on them. And the people stayed outside chanting, demanding their rights to vote. And believe it or not, after maybe an hour's time, the one of the campaigns went to a judge and they got a court order to reopen the doors and let people back in. But they did stay, and the people who were there at that time, no one else, you couldn't leave and then come back, but if you had stayed there, they did allow everybody in to vote at that time. So it was, for us as a radio station, it was important for us to be getting the word out, stay there, you know, if you're already there, you know, tell people to stay in place, that there was this thing going through the courts to try to reopen the doors. But that was a really interesting moment.
That's amazing.
So far, I think they have more polling locations here now for the general election, but we'll see. I'll let you know what happens.
Okay. Does anyone else have any shortage of polling stations lately? They're doing okay so far.
Yeah, Long Island's been fine. It's just been waits of about 2 to 3 hours to get into the early polling sites.
That is another amazing story, is the amount of people who've already voted. That'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
Stephanie, this is Heather. I'd like to add something to that.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, so just so you all know, I don't know if folks are familiar with this, but the United Nations came out with a resolution in 2014, and actually the process started in 2015, which is a decade devoted to people of African descent. So in the South, we've started having meetings every other week across the South, right? Having a meeting to talk about the UN decade and what we want to explore as far as issues regarding people of African descent in the South. So last night in our call, I don't know if you all are familiar with Charles and Shirley Sherrod. Do you know them in Albany, Georgia? They were part of the SNCC movement in Albany. Some of you all might know, but
maybe you could describe it just a little bit.
Well, anyway, Charles Sherrod was the head of SNCC in the Albany area, in South Georgia area, and you know, as you would expect, having all kinds of struggles in the 1960s just to demand civil and human rights in that area. I'm not going to go on forever about that, but you can look that up. And Shirley became one of the first Blacks to be a part of this particular division within the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And she was also the first Black person to be fired from the USDA inappropriately. This was under the Obama administration. And then when Obama and others realized what had happened, Obama apologized to her. She refused to go back to the USDA. Anyway, that was a Breitbart plant. Actually, they tried to undermine her and what she was talking about at a meeting that she had in Georgia. I don't want to go into all that detail, because what I want to tell you about was one of the commissioners in Albany was on our call last night and was talking about how they're assisting voters in the Albany area, you know, with water and all kinds of things, because they have a long waiting time actually to get into to vote. And this white woman she didn't like the fact that they had Black Lives Matter actually t-shirts, and she pulled out a gun.
Oh my God.
It was just, I mean, so I plan on doing an interview. His name is Demetrius. He is a commissioner in Albany. So I was just talking with him this morning. I plan on doing an interview with him. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're experiencing in America, or certainly in the South right now. So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Wow.
I'll get more information out. I can share it with you if you want.
Would you be interested to share that for the COVID Race and Democracy show?
Well, perhaps. Let me talk with Demetrius and see if we could do that. Get him. I plan on doing an interview with him myself. We do have a video of this woman pulling out her gun. So, and what was also interesting is that a lot of the folks in the area and people involved in the government didn't really understand what the laws are on this, in that it's okay. I mean, I guess you're not supposed to wear a shirt that or that has a message promoting a certain candidate, right? But just to have Black Lives Matter, there's nothing illegal about that. So this is problematic in a lot of areas, certainly in the South, where people don't really understand what the policies are. So, and this, I want to tell you all, I observed the elections in South Africa in 1994, and I stayed for the inauguration of Mandela, and I was in Cape Town with some folks who went into the Capitol, and in Cape Town, they were Black, right? The folks who were going into the Capitol were Black. And when they came back out, they were very frustrated, and I assumed it was because they were, you know, people were racist toward them or whatever in the state capitol. But that wasn't the issue at all. The issue was that they realized when they went into the state capitol that these white South African employees didn't know the policies, right? So the thing is, they got those positions because they were white and for no other reason, not because they understood what the government policies were, that's for sure. So in any case, I just wanted to share that, yeah. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'll talk with Demetrius. I'll see what we can do.
Okay. And I don't know, Sharon, too, if you'd be interested in sharing with us for the 9th, or if any of you guys here today would be interested in being on standby for election coverage.
Possibly one or two of our announcers might. What time frame are you thinking?
So it won't be live. It'll be pre-recorded things that we put together for Monday, the 9th.
So get it together for. So when would we need to have you stuff by?
That's a good question. Probably the weekend, probably either Saturday or Sunday. We're going to have another meeting on this coming Thursday to confirm people who have stories. So we can make sure people know the answer to that on Thursday, this coming.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you know as soon as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, we can help, Stephanie. Just let us know what you need, you know, kind of what you're looking for. I know you will.
Okay. Yeah, I guess realizing having this meeting now it's kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's good to talk about possibilities, but we just don't know yet.
Yeah, grassroots radio. Gotta love it. I was going to throw in one more story that's more pertinent, that is actually pertaining to the general election. But here in Louisville, they found in a dumpster over 100 mail-in ballots that the people had not received them yet. So they had requested them from the Board of Elections. The Board of Elections sent them out by U.S. mail, and some construction workers found them in a dumpster. And the authorities came and later deduced that the person who put it there was in fact a postal worker, and he had intentionally thrown the ballots away.
Wow.
And he's now facing federal charges. But that's all we've heard. We haven't heard. I heard there was some campaign material in there as well, but I never heard for which party. So I'm not certain who he was trying to help.
Wow. Well, that's definitely a story. And Davine, I know that you've been following the Mark Meadows seat story, and that could be something to talk about for the election piece on the 9th.
Well, I sent them in a file already, and they have edited the one that I sent in, so I'm not sure. It would basically be a repeat of what I already sent in.
Okay, gotcha.
Until election night and the rubber starts hitting the road.
Then you'll know what to talk about afterwards.
Yeah, I'll know afterwards for sure. We're going to be doing live coverage that night, so I know things can be a little iffy with radio, so if it happens that they want some call in from around the country, we'll be doing live, so we'll be open to it if it should happen to happen.
Okay. Yeah, my understanding is that it's just going to be from Democracy Now! Is they're going to do their own thing. But yeah, if I hear anything, I'll tell them to call you.
Hey,
Dean, what is
Stephanie.
your, I'm sorry, but what is your, I'm curious what exactly you're going to be doing. On
Well, we're gonna be following the local, state, and national polls from the Board of Elections and giving updates as things change and it becomes more evident of who's winning and who's losing. And, you know, I've done it in the past. I just haven't recorded it before. I've done it many times on just groups that I was associated with on social media. So I kind of know how to do it. And you do kind of bounce around between the Board of Elections and the New York Times and Washington Post, whichever ones are able to look at the more national stuff and make their calls. So basically it's local and state Board of Elections and then pulling in national as things around the country start coming in.
And are you playing music? Are you talking, you know, while you're waiting for the results to come in? Are you just?
Yeah, we'll bring the music up or whatever show is scheduled to be playing that night, because we do have a reggae show that happens that night, and we can pull that up if we have like slow moments, which you probably will. So that's what we'll do. We'll just pull in regular programming.
And just kind of pop in.
And yeah,
when
and
something happens.
we're also going to ask people to call in. So we're going to be live on social media and YouTube. So we're going to be asking people to call in. So depending upon if we get comments or people responding, we might be able to fill up the whole thing just by people paying attention. So it's kind of iffy, but as I mentioned earlier, we did our first live streaming and on the radio last week. So we've got a little bit of practice and we know how, we know that we can get some attention on Facebook, especially in the very hotly contested races like we have with the District 11 race. So there's a lot of interest. So we're open to people posting questions on social media, calling in on the telephone if they want to. So it's going to be experimental, but we're community radio and we can experiment.
That's true.
Yeah,
do that. I love that.
that sounds exciting. I hope that goes well for you guys.
Oh, I think it'll go very well.
Cool. That's great, Debbie.
Anyone else have any election plans they're doing locally for their broadcasting?
I mean, just what I said earlier, we're going to have our student newspapers, The Statesman, and they're going to be doing some interviewing around campus. And then the student TV station's going to be live streaming some stuff, which we're going to try and get some of that on the radio throughout the day. And then the Democracy Now! At 9 o'clock is all that everyone has brought up at the moment. But I'm sure people will be doing other commentary and stuff throughout the day with their regular shows.
Anyone else?
We were considering doing hosting like a Zoom results watch party, and I don't know that we'll do it officially as a station or maybe just the DJs and stuff, but just curious if anybody had any thoughts about that or knew of anything like that was happening out there.
That is what we did. That is what we're going to do, except we're not doing Zoom, we're doing a different platform, but basically that's what we'll be doing. I'll
Cool.
send you a link to what we did last week so you can see how it turned out.
Great. Thank you, Debbie.
Stephanie? Stephanie?
Yes. Yep.
I got a question for Isabel.
Okay.
You're on Long Island and I'm upstate.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to you about what I just mentioned about the party suppression in New York State. Were you aware of what I was saying?
I wasn't until you had mentioned it.
Okay. Can
Or
I,
some of our political programmers are well aware of it, I'm sure, though. Go ahead.
so maybe, I could get your contact information and we could talk further on this. That would be important.
Yeah, I can just put it in the chat box.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Heather, you had a question too?
Yes, I'm sorry. One of the things in one of the committee meetings on Pacifica the other day, they were talking about having local news being broadcast on radio stations. So people were wondering, and I said I was going to ask the affiliates this question, what affiliates do if they have local news, what's the process? Do you have someone, if you have local news, do you have some committee that oversees what is being presented to the public? How does that work? Could anybody respond to that? Does anybody have local news that you have on a consistent basis on your stations? No? No one does? All right. Well, listen, thanks.
You might talk to Pete in New York. Pete, I can find his information for you. He has a local, an all-volunteer news organization that they do. If you want to get in touch with him.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So thank you, Stephanie. All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Let's see. Okay, you guys are just putting the stuff in the chat. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else people are thinking about pre-election? And are you guys feeling anxious for it to get here?
Yes.
Like I am?
I keep wanting to go vote early,
Seems
but I can't find 2 hours to go stand on the line. So I think I'm going to end up going on the day of.
When I hear all these stories from all over, it really reminds me that here in California, and especially, they're fixing our roof, so I may have to. So it's somebody's on top of my roof right now. We're putting a new roof. But anyway, we're really lucky in California. Well, especially even in Sonoma County where I live. It's incredible. We don't have any of these problems. We have a high turnout. We can drop our ballot any place, and we have sites, and it just it makes me realize how lucky we are.
Yeah, same here in Iowa. We've been lucky in our town. I had to wait about an hour and that was fine. Really grateful for that. Isn't it like 70% of Texas has voted already?
Wow, really?
Read that right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
About 50% of North Carolina has voted.
Wow,
Wow.
it's amazing.
Devin, you've been keeping up with the statistics of which parties are voting too. What is it looking like in North Carolina right now?
It looks like the Democrats are about 10 points ahead, and we have a high number of unaffiliateds, and our unaffiliateds is split about half and half. So it looks like the Democrats are ahead a good, healthy 8 or 10 points at this point.
What state is that? I'm sorry.
North Carolina.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Important. That's great, Devin. It's good to hear. I know you guys are. Well, I guess while we're here, what are people doing in terms of encouraging your listeners to get out to the polls or providing information about what they need to know when they're there?
Good question.
Any tips? Anything that's working well?
We have information from the League of Women Voters about all of the propositions on the California ballot. So we have a video of them. They made a presentation. And then we also have on our website instructions on if you do go to the polls about bring your own blue or black pen, because they're not going to be providing any. And there'll be social distancing and masking requirements and the locations. The one downside that we are experiencing here in Northern California is that for us to do early voting, we have to go just about 40 miles over 2 mountain ranges to get there.
That's crazy.
But on election day, yeah. So as election day happens, I think we do have a drop-off place that's only 14 miles away. There are no mountains in between. So,
Wow.
or we can go to our polling place, which is about 2 miles from us right here. Down on election day. We have to bring your own blue pen.
Anyone else got any good tips?
What we're just doing is basically in every program, somebody's always mentioning the urgency and all of this. But for a lot of us in Sonoma County, you know, I mean, we're very clearly, you know, anti the trespasser, as I call them, in the White House. And so we try to do it in a way that we don't come out and say those things, but that we bring in people who then, you know, talk about the urgency of voting, and not so much of even, we don't have to say, just our thing is pushing for you to go and vote. We are basically understand that the majority of our community is going to, we always, you know, are going to vote the right way, as I call it, you know. And so that's what we're, for us, we just basically are just trying to encourage people to go and vote, especially if you're a new citizen and it's not a test. You can take your book with you. We try to give them all these little things that you can even, you know. And but with us, we also have a vote by mail, which we've already, almost all of us got it, so that it's just for you to go out and just go and deposit it in a safe place or and real close. And I mean, you know, it doesn't take any time for us. There's no lines. We don't have lines. Very little. I mean, maybe 3 people ahead of you or something, but we got enough places. So, but for us in the radio, our programming is talking about just going out and vote. You know, that it's your voice and you gotta let it be heard. This is the only time. This is the most important election of your lifetime. You know, and that kind of situation. You know, and so we're doing it from that point of view. But it's more like a regular thing, like it's just part of every program mentions it, you know, there's a mention about it, the urgency of, and, you know, and to practice you know, the precautions of, because of COVID, you know, because we're we're in Sonoma County, we're the ones that are in the purple or something. We're the ones that are not, you know, really restricted, you know, right now, because we have such a high level, almost so almost 80% of Latinos are getting COVID here in Sonoma County.
Oh my
So
God.
it's horrible.
Wow.
You know,
Whoa.
That's bad.
Wow.
because of essential workers, you know, the farm workers, and because they are in the economic you know, disparities. And so, you know, they're crowded in, you know, they live in a house where there's 10 or, you know, sometimes in a house with 5, let's say 5 bedrooms, there's 5 families, full families, you know, and then you have the people that live in the living rooms. So in the living room, so, you know, you just, that kind of level is bound to, you know, to have that. And when people go to on carpooling, it's not so much that they love carpooling, they're forced to, because some of them don't have cars, you know, and they have to crowd in. And so, and, you know, so we really, is very, very high level for us. And the level of that the COVID has done in the community, the level of harm, I guess, or whatever, is really the Latino community has been hit the hardest, you know, because of that, just the housing situation, the fact that they're essential workers, they're the ones that going, you know, the majority of the workers here are Latinos. You know, they're the ones that are out in the fields and out in taking care of the seniors in assisting housing, and you know, and so it's very, and, you know, cleaning people's homes and all of that. So landscape, you know, all that. But anyway, so yeah, that's the, but, you know, one of the things too is about voting. Yeah, we're very clear of, you know, that the key is to go and vote. And this is it. We don't want to hear. I'm very strict with my family about that. I vote. I even send them all the propositions. I said, this is, I researched the propositions. Don't use that as an excuse for not going and voting. You know, because some people feel like if I got to know all the answers to the propositions and all of that. And I try to explain to them to simplify it, you know, so, but more important, just to go and vote, you know.
Yeah, here.
So Stephanie, I just wanted to mention that in Georgia, it's sort of a neck and neck race here. We haven't had anything like that since Carter ran and won the state. So it's very interesting. And I've been doing quite a few interviews with Greg Palast because there have been a lot of folks who've been taken off the voting rolls here thanks to whatever the Georgia politics are, which are generally outrageous. I do want to mention that the Carter Center for the first time is going to be having assisting in the electoral process. I mean, just overseeing what's happening in various polls and so forth, which is a good thing. So we'll see.
That sounds interesting too. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting.
It could be a good story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stephanie, I've got a North Carolina report.
Cool. Okay.
So North Carolina was gerrymandered so that they had Republicans had stay seats since 2011. So they have not been participating in any of the candidate forums since then. So we've sent out, you know, we've done several, quite a few interviews of candidates, and we always send out invitations, you know, to cover our own selves for legal purposes. And so none of them have come on. So all of the programs that we have done interviews of, the whole up until election day and through election day, I'm replaying all of those interviews kind of randomly so that, you know, somebody might hear something that tweaks them to go vote for a Democrat instead of a Republican person to the right of Attila the Hun.
Yeah. Awesome.
There's a couple of things we're talking about in PSAs. We're a lot like you, Alicia. I think we're just, you know, the DJs are just passionate about people getting out and voting, and so they're just kind of naturally telling people get out and vote. We have provided some information also from the League of Women Voters, just about where the polling locations are, that we're having them read that, and how to turn in your ballot, and making sure people know that if they have a mail-in ballot, they can take it, you know, to the center so that it doesn't get lost in the mail, you know, that kind of thing. There's a few things too I've learned that, at least here, those scooters, the Lime scooters, they're offering free rides to the polls. You can get 2 rides, one there and one back, for up to 30 minutes each on their bikes and their scooters. And I know they're doing that across the country on election day. And the Urban League here got it so that it's happening now with early voting in Louisville too. So you might want to check that out in your community.
Awesome.
Yeah. Also, the Urban League here is offering rides to the polls and rides to the polls even to the early voting sites. I'm trying to think of, in our bus service, the TARC bus service is offering free rides all day on their main routes on election day. So those are the kind of things we're trying to let our listeners know about. And then we're doing a t-shirt contest. We do this every election time. If you post on our social media a picture that proves you voted, you know, maybe your sticker, or they do wristbands here, or your ballot going in the drop box or something like that, or it could just be whatever creative thing, you know, as long as they're doing some kind of photograph that says I voted, and they can post that to our social media. And then we're on election night, we're going to pick 2 winners, one for the most creative and one just kind of random drawing. So, you know, it's never we do it every time and it never gets a huge response. But it is fun to see people send in their voted pictures and just trying to get more of that on social media, make it look like a cool thing to do or whatever. That's what we're going
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I like that a lot. I like
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
what people putting their I voted sticker pictures. Does anyone report on like what the wait line time is for different polling places? I'm just curious.
Great idea.
Our sites have a app that will tell you how many people are waiting in line, all of our early voting.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that it's kind of like they did for restaurants, but now they have it for voting. That's nice. Yeah. What do you know what the name of that app is? Is that like a national app?
I don't know if it's a national app. I just know that our local, you can get it in at the Buncombe County Board of Election, how many people are in line app.
Catchy.
That's the way they word it.
That's funny. And I'm just gonna throw out there too, before I forget, if anyone's interested in helping the COVID Race and Democracy show for the 9th with editing or writing, let me know. That'd be awesome too. I don't know if, is there anything else on people's minds regarding the election that you want to talk about? I see we're at 4 o'clock and just want to make sure don't take up people's time.
Crazy that we may know, we may or we may not know by our next meeting what the future holds.
Oh my God.
Who thinks we'll actually know something, you know, by next Thursday? Say, I don't know.
I think the media won't be able to help themselves and report whatever it is they have. I can't imagine anyone holding back.
You know, one thing that I always tell people back here in California when I used to work in campaigns all the time is that I always tell them not to, on that day, actually, I used to say, don't turn your radio, your TV, nothing. Do not listen to what's happening back east because the media, main media is going to call the winner. And you are on your way home just to, you know, in those days when it was at, you know, the polls were open till only 8 o'clock. And so people would not go after work, you know. They say, oh, I'm not going to go and vote. What for? Already a winner has been declared, so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So for me, I tell people it's opposite, you know. I always tell, when I used to be and I used to say, don't let other people, you know, discourage you. Just go and vote, you know. Do not, you know, don't listen to that. Know who the one, you know. That's why I feel I think it was one of the sisters here who mentioned about the importance of, I think it's Heather who mentioned the importance of us knowing the history of public radio and that it really is that we represent the masses. And I really like that idea because I think we have to not only let the community know about that, but also even remind ourselves too, you know, that we play an incredible role in our lives. And so I'm really proud to be part of this incredible group of people all over here. It always makes me feel good, just like the conference did. It made me feel so that I'm not alone. And I really, really just I love being with all of you. You always give me so much hope, and I admire every single one of you. Someday I hope to meet some of you in person. But anyway, just you know, really thank you for every single one of you is doing, you know. And so
Same. Same.
Thanks, Alicia. That's a nice note to end on.
Nice. Thank you so much, Alicia. The same. Can't wait to meet you all in person. I hope.
I did think of a quick question before. Do any of you guys have like a certain criteria of what would what you would follow to announce a winner or not? Like, what would you go by? Like,
Like,
as
what
a-
song would you play? What song
What's that?
what song are you gonna play when you find out the winner? Is that what you mean?
No, like what will it take for you to feel confident that you think there is a winner to announce it?
So locally, you watch the trends, so you can tell how many, on all of the precincts, you can tell when the percentages starts getting to 60 and 70 and 80%. If you have someone at 30%, but someone else at 70%, well, if you've got 2/3 of your the numbers in, you know that person's already, that lower person is not going to be able to make it up. So it's kind of a percentage gain.
Yeah. So like 2/3 is pretty solid, you think?
Absolutely. If it's kind of neck and neck, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But if it's like a really solid difference, by the time you've got 2/3 of your precincts reporting, that lower person's not going to be able to make it up. And then so statewide, that's kind of similar too, because the counties, so it's broken down in the counties, not necessarily in precincts. So you can get an idea that way also.
That's why I remember last presidential election seeing on TV, some people were calling it with I don't know if it was presidential or like senators, they were calling it with way lower numbers, and I don't know why they felt they were able to do that. But
well, maybe they were just trying for ratings. Who knows?
who calls it first is always the winner, I guess. Anyway. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. This was great. And like Sharon said, maybe this time next week we will know. Oh my God.
Yeah, next week is going to be very significant for all of us, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come to the conclusion, I've always kind of thought, for many years, thought the world is kind of insane. And if Trump prevails this time, it's not just kind of insane, it's deeply insane. And it's going to be a really huge deal.
Right. I can't even barely think about it.
Right.
We're all going to be like Obama, like from the first part of his term in office to the last part. We're all going to look really different if that happens.
So I had a boyfriend back in the late 50s who was those sentries that stand outside the White House. So that was a position that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And and Eisenhower was the president at the time. And he wrote me in his letter, he says, I can't believe how being president ages someone.
Wow. Up close, you see it.
Yeah, up close he saw it.
Dang.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, ditto Obama. Boy, ditto
I-
Obama in.
I hope none of you turn as gray as I am. So
You're already there. Alicia will turn a whole other color all together if something happens.
Alicia, your hair color is envious. I wish
It's
mine was
beautiful.
beautiful.
You rock that
Really
right beautifully. You really do.
I just found a video of me in the garage and we played it, and it was like from the 1980 something when I was organizing, and I couldn't believe it. I had black hair. I forgot what it was like. So anyway, in 20 years, 27, oh, this is what happened. Anyway, but I hope not. I hope all of you don't turn between now and next week.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, this past this has taken a toll on us all. The 4 years, but I feel confident though that people are really getting out there, and I mean it's been looking good, and people seem excited, and even young people seem to be energized.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll just burn some candles and send out the good word to the world, and hopefully good things will happen next week.
Here's to that. Let's
Thank you
go.
all.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
We say here, sí se puede, sí se puede. That means we
Puede.
will. We can.
Se puedes, yes,
My
absolutely.
Take care, all of
my-
you.
my-
Many blessings.
My grandson, they've been
Bye-bye.
having here what they call Trumpalooza parades going through. My 4-year-old's grandson has been going, Trumpaloozer, Trumpaloozer. It's the Trumpaloozer parade.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my God, that's great.
Well, if any of you guys come up think you have a good story for the 9th, yeah, join us next week. We'd love to hear it. And hopefully we will see each other in good tidings. So thank you
Yes.
for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye, all of you. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye, all of you.